Hello, Michael Swain here after Kansas basketball's 88-80 win over Texas on Big Monday. And speaking of big, that's about as big of a win as Kansas has had this season. DeJuan Harris called the postgame a must-win game. Bill Self didn't go as far as to say that, but you look at the landscape of the Big 12, and if KU had fallen back another game from Texas at the top of the league, you're looking at almost a nearly insurmountable deficit in terms of competing for the Big 12 title. And yet Kansas puts together what on paper looks like the most unlikely performance maybe of the season. Heading into the game, if you would have said that Jalen Wilson is going to score 4 points and KU is going to make 2 threes, I probably would have said Kansas is scoring in the 50s. And yet here we are talking about 88 points, incredible output and incredible team effort. And that's where I think this performance starts. It's a team, and I think it's much different than what you saw from the group of players at Iowa State on Saturday, where it was a one-man show of Jalen Wilson and KU looking slow, sluggish, not much energy, where then you watch the first 5 minutes of the game here, and it's a team playing with its hair on fire. And that's what we've said all along. For KU to reach its ceiling in this iteration of the way they're playing, they have to play with a ton of high energy, and that's exactly what they did. They competed for all 40 minutes, or maybe 38 minutes outside of maybe the first 2 minutes of the second half. But overall, collectively, the energy was so much better from the team. And I think you look at the individual performances, guys took it upon themselves to compete. DeJuan Harris attempting a career-high 16 shots. He made 7 shots inside the arc. That's a career high as well. Paint touches have been hard to come by for him this season, and yet tonight he was able to be really aggressive, take advantage of the way Texas was guarding the ball screens, and get into the paint. You look at someone like Kevin McCullough. He only made 3 shots from the field, and yet goes on to score 16 points total. A lot of those came from the free throw line. Of course, Grady Dick finds his form again, but he more of a blended scoring attack. It wasn't purely three-point shooting. He got to the rim early in the game, and then you saw in the second half that he was able to make some three-pointers as well. And this all leads me to Joseph Yesufu, who I think this is probably his best game as a Jayhawk, and KU does not win this game without the minutes that Joseph Yesufu brought them. That was the player that you saw at Drake in the NCAA tournament, scoring over 20 points and dominating games against high major teams. It's been harder sledding for him at Kansas. It's a different role. It's a different atmosphere around here, and he has very limited playing time. I think Bill Self made a really good point post-game, talking about how for a player like him, knowing that Self can't take him out, because who else is he going to put in, right? Bobby Pettiford didn't play in this game. He's hurt. Kyle Cuff is hurt. They've got DeJuan Harris and they got Joseph Yesufu with kind of the main ball handlers, and so I think that freedom helped him, and you saw him play with great energy. So overall, I mean, you can even go to the bench, right? 22 bench points, the most in Big 12 play. MJ Rice gave KU great energy, great minutes, easily his best stretch of play this season. Ernest Uday was fine coming off the bench as well. And you just look at every single player that played in this game today, brought something. And I think really you look at Jalen Wilson and say, okay, didn't score the ball, but I still thought on the defensive glass he brought it. So overall, this is just a huge win for Kansas. I think you look ahead now and say they've got some time off. It doesn't sound like they're going to get anyone back in terms of Pettiford, Zach Clements, or Zuby Ejiofor for Saturday's game, but getting the guys like Grady Dick, Kevin McCullough, KJ Adams, getting those guys some rest over the next few days will be really big heading into back-to-back road games against Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. Thankfully for KU, the schedule gets lighter now, if you can call it lighter, right? Oklahoma's still a good team. They beat Alabama, 2 weeks ago? Oklahoma State was on a really, really good run as of late as well. They're still good teams, but maybe not top 10, top 15 teams like Kansas has played as of late. So this is a big win. Gives Kansas some momentum heading into, again, the lighter part of the schedule where they can really maybe start to mount a run towards the Big 12 title. Of course, now you look ahead, and the last game of the season is going to be KU versus Texas. Could that be for the Big 12? The next few weeks will decide it, but it's feeling like this is now KU's back in the title race, and it's incredible how things can swing, where I think after Saturday's game you're wondering, is Kansas going to finish in third? And now you're looking at, okay, this is a big win. They're going to be back in the race. It's just a question of, can they bring this energy night in and night out? Because if they bring this energy, they're a really, really tough team to beat. All right, well, that's going to do it for this video. I'm going to head back and finish writing. Make sure you're liking the videos and subscribing to the channel. Obviously, we'll keep these going. I'm headed to Norman for Saturday. So interested to see what KU team shows up then, because this season has been incredibly interesting and it's been an incredibly fun team to follow. So make sure you stay tuned to Phog.net for all sorts of coverage.